Vidya, welcome to India today.
Thank you.
Tell me, how awesome is it to be back in the theatres? What a great feeling is it?
It's a fantastic feeling. Of course, when Mission Mangal happened and was such a huge success, I was looking forward to my next theatrical, and then the pandemic happened. And then it's been 3 years already. So, 4 years actually. And when I heard Neeyat's going to release on the big screen, I was like, also because it's the kind of film that you should see on the big screen.
Right.
It's visually stunning. We've shot at some beautiful locations, and I think it's got the drama of a big screen film.
Absolutely. Also, tell me, the pandemic sort of brought out the viewer in us. It also curated our palettes to different kinds of cinema.
Yeah.
Did you rediscover anything about yourself that there's a genre that I really enjoy, which I perhaps didn't know? Is it something new? It could be a foreign film, it could be a show. How did you sort of roller coaster ride that phase?
I have to say that I love human dramas, but I like pacey human dramas. I don't like the ones that are very indulgent. So that's the thing I realized about myself, that I am an impatient viewer, so I need pace. Which is why I love the thriller, murder mystery genre. There's something that has you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. That's something that became very clear to me during the pandemic, when we were sitting home and just watching stuff and things like that. And I feel like comedies I don't know, I feel like a comedy should always be watched with more people, not alone. So which is why a comedy or a light-hearted film should definitely be consumed in the theatre. The others can still be personal experiences, but like even your visually stunning films, your extravaganzas, like that. I think even comedy should definitely be watched with an audience.
Right, like in a theatre.
Yeah,
laughter is
the theatre.
contagious.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
But you hit a very strong note when you mentioned Neeyat and the fact that it needs to be seen on the big screen.
Yeah.
I think that resonates when we see the trailer.
Yeah.
Just the canvas and the depth and the sheer, just the landscape of it all, and then the characters who come, and then there is a close-up shot of somebody speaking. Then again you go long. It's just a myriad of expressions and emotions. Tell me, when the story came to you, I know how picky you are in terms of what you do, and I know if it resonates with you, then you take it, otherwise you don't. What was it, apart from the fact that Anu, obviously?
Anu, of course, big draw. Abundantia, big draw. But primarily the story, because when I read it, I was like, wow, this is a classic murder mystery, and yet she's not your classic detective. So it's great. I love the murder mystery genre, and yet this was offering me something new within that. Of course, the plot is new, but every genre has certain tropes. It has a certain structure. Within that, I thought I was getting to do something different. Like, she's not your flamboyant, stylish detective, She's almost socially awkward. She's so not like a detective, except that she's got the sharpest mind and the most intuitive mind and the most... so I think it was offering me this newness within the classic murder mystery genre. So I said, I really decided to do it like that.
Yeah, and that's what you do with most of your films. It's that click of your fingers.
Right.
I was revisiting Bobby Jasoos the other day. Okay, oddly enough. And I have to say, the effort you put into that film, it wasn't so much about the physical getup.
Right.
You spoke so much about that.
Yeah.
It was written about it.
Yeah.
That you put hours and hours into making sure every part looks so different. But the technique with which you played all of those characters, when that film came out and it didn't do as well as it should have, what did you go through? Because I can only imagine the amount of hours sitting in a chair, playing so many characters. How did you deal with that?
I remember, Tushar, that on the day of release, till then there was this feeling that, the film is going to do well. You always hold on to that feeling, right? You also, during promotions, the media is very sweet. They're telling you all the best, trailer acha hai, blah, blah, blah. So all of that builds you up, right? The more you converse about it, the more you believe in it. But I went to a mall on the day of release of Bobby Jasoos, and there were hardly any people. And my heart sank. I said, oh my God, this is not a good sign. And I remember we had a party at home for the entire team that day, and I came back and everyone was so happy because they hadn't been to the mall. I had an appearance at the mall, and I didn't want to say anything, but it was, I had a very bad feeling about it because all of us had worked very hard. It was a first-time director, a first-time writer. Dia and Sahil were not first-time producers. I think this was their second film, but it was a fairly new, young team, and it really broke my heart. And I thought that I thought that there was a feeling at that time that this genre doesn't work in India, because after that also I think there were a couple of other films. Oh God, there was
in similar
Jagga.
space. Yes.
Jagga that didn't work, and then there was that
Byomkesh
Sushant film,
also.
Byomkesh Bakshi, that didn't work. So there was a feeling, but I think now it's a different time, because now people have suddenly woken up to, for some reason, that genre.
Yes.
Because we're used to seeing all kinds of content. So yeah, I think this is the right time for this genre to release.
Absolutely. And I also feel like the genre has so much scope because we also sort of get to be a part of the journey of so many characters. It's not just one protagonist, there are multiple characters. When the trailer came out, social media obviously had its own commentary like it does with every film. And the parallels were drawn to Knives Out, and the parallels were drawn to Agatha Christie and what she has put out. And I'm a huge Agatha Christie. I mean, I've grown up on all the books. What did you make of all of those?
I'll tell you, even when I've watched Hercule Poirot or I've watched certain other films in the genre, I felt like, yeah, this is a bit predictable, because there are tropes that every genre employs. So when you see this murder mystery genre, this whodunit genre, there are things that will look similar. Invariably, this always plays out in a secluded place.
There's always that one isolated house.
Yeah, exactly. So, so there will be similarities. Of course, you don't get that much of a sense in a trailer, right? So people jump to conclusions, because also today people are so quick to jump to conclusions. But let them watch the film and decide. It's an original film by Anu Menon. And but like I'm saying, there will be similarities that you'll find, and that's absolutely okay. Yeah. Sorry, did I answer?
And also, like you said, there is more than meets the eye when you watch the film.
Yeah, absolutely. Because in a trailer, you can only see that much. We can't show you the film in the trailer.
Absolutely. That also sort of leads me into this space that you have sort of made your own without making your own, which is your Instagram and the reels that you do. I mean, I have to tell you this, that if you have a dull day, you have to just land upon your page.
How
and
sweet, thank you.
You put a smile on all our faces. And it just doesn't feel conscious, it feels organic. It just feels like you're having more fun than we perhaps do.
I do have a lot of fun.
Where did you discover this trait in you?
In London, shooting for Neeyat. Actually, there was a power outage on set one day. So we were waiting for things to get fixed. And, my manager asked me, she said, do you want to do a reel? And I used to do a reel once in 2-3 months, and that was about it. So I said, okay. And I'd just seen this reel that I found damn funny. So I went down. We were shooting in a beautiful place. There were these golf courses. So I went there and I shot this reel where I'm basically trying to do like a sexy, almost like a bend down. And I get a catch in my back, and that did so well. So I was thrilled by the response. But most importantly, I started enjoying doing the comedy, because I've always wanted to do comedy and I've never really gotten a chance to do a full-fledged comedy. Tumhari Sulu had that, and I loved it. And I want to do more comedy, so I think वही भड़ास मैं पूरी कर रही हूँ.
But it's strange that nobody's offered you one, because you do have that flair and it is so inherent. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just take to it like a fish to a water. I hope that people look at these.
I hope they do, because I love comedy.
What do you also make of the pressures perhaps an actor has during promoting a film of, like you said, now you're not making reels to promote anything, you're just having fun.
Yeah.
There is this whole pap culture and you somehow have stayed out of it, yet when you come out and when we see you with the paps, you have a very warm, cordial relation with them. And those little clips go viral as well.
I've known them for years now, right? I've been in the movies for 18 years, even before the pap culture existed, I guess. So I think when I meet them, there's always a nice
But do you
warm
feel a
banter.
shift in terms of how do you promote a film, or how do you market a film, or how do you communicate with your audience now than it was before?
No, definitely a shift. Previously, it used to be interview heavy. Now it's more in terms of interactions with influencers or doing reels, creating interesting content for social media. I think that's what you're focused on during promotions. But I'm enjoying it because, you know, I'm someone who's always enjoyed promoting.
Yeah.
But in between, I think about a year or two ago, I started feeling like I'm done with this now, because I think we're giving out too much about the films in our interviews. So then, you know, and I don't know how many people are interested in knowing about the process or about anything related to the film before they watch the film, right? Unless you're doing like a Tom Cruise in a Mission Impossible, and there are crazy stunts, and that's what you want to go and watch. That's a different story. So I'd been feeling that. So I think this is a nice shift. And maybe if the film does well, then you do interviews post-release. I think then both sides will have more to communicate, right?
Absolutely. Tell me a bit about Neeyat. I mean, you shot on these gorgeous locales, right? That's a treat. I mean, you're working and you're actually getting to do all of that. You also got to work with a bunch of so much talent and actors. What's the one memory of Neeyat that you're going to carry in your pocket and be like, when you look back, oh, this is my fondest memory?
Oh, you know, in Scotland, when we were shooting at the castle outdoors, it was so windy. You could get blown. And most of the other actors were not well equipped, you know, because they had costumes that, whether it was Shahana or Dipanita or Prajakta, they were all in these dresses, off-shoulder dresses, sleeveless dresses, and it was so cold. Poor things. I was very warm. I was fine. But also it was so windy, and we'd all be huddled together, rubbing each other's hands and backs and everything. That was so nice. And, you know, we'd all like be talking all the time, Tushar. It was like a noisy classroom. There were times when Anu would just say, quiet! There's 13 actors and we all got along well. So we were all constantly bantering about everything. And we knew, at least even if we didn't know each other personally, we knew of each other. And there was just easy conversation, you know. So it was, but I think, okay, the fondest memory will be, we did this 17-minute scene in one take.
Wow.
And we did 21 takes of it for various reasons. It was a very technically tricky scene. But oh my God, how we supported each other during that was quite something.
I mean, just the idea of somebody doing that for so long, it's crazy.
The entire day, I think by the end of it, our jaws were hurting, you know, we were feeling like, because it was also cold.
Yeah.
It was, you know, whether you were shooting outdoors or indoors, it was cold.
Yeah.
Outdoors was worse, but even indoors, you know, you couldn't have the fire burning and stuff.
Absolutely. You also have a very special relation with your fans. You know, they have been with you through thick and thin. They have been with you through ups and downs. And they were also very transparent with what they like, what they don't like. It's almost a personal connect with them. For anybody who, I don't like to use the word reinvent because this question often gets asked, oh, she's back and he's back. It's such a cliche. But just for anybody who loves the craft and wants to stay relevant and wants to keep enjoying doing this, what's the one thing you would like to tell them, for anybody watching this?
I think that I really don't have the answer to that, but I'm wagering a guess. And I feel that it's about doing things that you enjoy. If you enjoy it, invariably your audiences will. But if you begin to do it because it's the right thing to do, or because it'll, you know, because people will enjoy it, or because it has a better chance of success, I think then, you know, things don't
Have
go
you
the
like
way.
said no to certain things because you've been told, because everybody else is doing it?
No, I've never done that. Never. And when I have, I honestly, whether or not to do a film is always my decision, like purely my decision. I don't take anyone's advice, and I'm very selfish about that decision, because if something goes wrong, I don't want to be holding you responsible. You know, when things are good, it's great, but if something goes wrong, I can turn around and tell you, you asked me to do it. So I'm never doing that. But also because I feel like I'm giving so much to a film, I only want to do something that I feel, you know, is worth that kind of investment of energy and time and passion and hard work. So yeah, I've
And now we have a Vidya Balan film hitting theatres. I mean, what a bigger treat than that. I think Vidya, I hope that somebody offers you a full-blown comedy.
I hope so too.
Something like, Lucy. I mean, I've watched Lucy. I'm a
Yes.
huge Lucy fan. Your laughter is infectious, so is your personality. Thank you so much for this amazing chat.
Thank you, Tushar.